In 1979, a group of students stormed an embassy and turned two nations into lifelong enemies. But what if the story didn't begin there? What if the roots of hostility between Iran and the United States were planted decades earlier, hidden beneath coups, oil, revolution, and mistrust? This is not just a story of politics. It's a story of power, betrayal, and consequences that still shape our world today. Before they became adversaries, Iran and the United States were unlikely partners. In the early 20th century, Iran, then known as Persia, was caught between powerful empires like Britain and Russia. When the US entered the picture, it wasn't seen as a colonizer, but as a neutral outsider. American advisors helped modernize Iran's financial and educational systems, earning goodwill among its people. By the 1940s and 50s, under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran became a key U.S. ally in the Middle East. The Cold War was intensifying, and Iran's geographic position made it strategically vital. Washington supported the Shah as a bulwark against Soviet expansion. But beneath this partnership, tensions quietly brewed. Iranian citizens grew increasingly frustrated with foreign influence, especially over oil. The country's vast reserves were controlled largely by Western companies, fueling resentment and a growing nationalist movement. That movement would soon bring a democratically elected leader to power, a man who would challenge both Britain and the United States, and in doing so, change everything. In 1951, Iran elected a prime minister named Mohammad Mossadegh, a man who would ignite a firestorm. Mossadegh nationalized Iran's oil industry, reclaiming it from British control. For many Iranians, he was a hero, but for Western powers, he was a threat. Fearing the loss of influence and worried Iran might drift toward Soviet alignment, the United States and Britain took drastic action. In 1953, the CIA and British intelligence orchestrated a covert operation, Operation Ajax. Through propaganda, bribery, and political manipulation, they engineered a coup. Mossadegh was overthrown. The Shah, who had briefly fled, was restored to power, with stronger authority than ever. To the US, it was a victory against communism. To many Iranians, it was a betrayal. This moment would leave a deep scar in Iran's national memory. Democracy had been crushed, not by internal failure, but by foreign interference. And from that point on, America was no longer seen as a friend, but as a puppet master. For over 2 decades after the coup, the Shah ruled Iran with an iron grip, backed by American support. His regime modernized the country, but at a cost. Political dissent was crushed. The secret police, Savak, became infamous for surveillance and torture. As inequality grew and traditional values clashed with rapid westernization, anger spread. In 1979, that anger exploded into revolution. Led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, millions of Iranians took to the streets. The Shah fled, the monarchy collapsed, and Iran became an Islamic republic. But the revolution didn't stop there. Soon after, Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, taking 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. To Americans, it was a shocking act of aggression. To many Iranians, it was justice, a response to decades of interference. From that moment, the divide became official. Two nations, once allies, were now locked in open hostility. After 1979, hostility hardened into policy. The United States imposed sanctions on Iran, isolating its economy. Iran, in turn, positioned itself as a challenger to American influence in the Middle East. During the 1980s, the Iran-Iraq War became another flashpoint. While officially neutral, the U.S. supported Iraq, further deepening Iranian resentment. Over the years, the conflict evolved into a shadow war. Iran backed proxy groups across the region. The U.S. strengthened alliances with Iran's rivals. Tensions flared through cyber attacks, assassinations, and covert operations. Each side viewed the other not just as an enemy, but as a threat to its identity and survival. And yet, despite decades of hostility, direct war was always avoided. A fragile, uneasy balance remained. Today, the relationship between Iran and the United States remains one of the most complex rivalries in modern history. There have been moments of hope, like the 2015 nuclear deal, but trust has always been fragile. Decades of mistrust cannot be undone easily. For Americans, Iran is often seen as a destabilizing force. For many Iranians, the United States is still remembered as the power that overthrew their democracy. Two narratives, two histories, one unresolved conflict. But history is not destiny. The question remains, will these nations remain trapped in the past, or will they find a way to rewrite their future? The hostility between Iran and the United States did not begin with a single event. It was built, step by step, through decisions, fears, and misunderstandings. A coup that shattered trust, a revolution that reshaped identity, and decades of conflict that reinforced division. But beneath politics are people. Millions on both sides who have never met, yet live with the consequences of history. So the real question is not just how this conflict began, but whether it must continue.